singing, hey there, little girl. I don't know where I'm streaming to. I've had some issues, but either way, InShalla and Ashe. Blessings to you, my energetic beings. We are between seasons today. So you might feel the leftover vibrations of the universe, the leftovers, flowing into the realms of spirit. However, these vibrations are going to be the season to really ride these cosmic waves into 2022. Cycling to and through. But welcome to today's daily snippet. Once again, I am your host, a practicing holistic Sha'medium and subtle energetic surgeon. Merging these indigenous technologies, the spirit of the Dagara tribe in Burkina Faso, West Africa, with the subtle energies, elementals, elemental beings. Basically, it's taking from the elemental realm into the imaginal realm and so much more, with offerings, rituals, and prescriptions to really add to all of the juice in your personal container. But my intention really is to merge these indigenous technologies, the elementals within the subtle realms, the etheric highway, to assist you into navigating your prime directive, also known as your inner genius, your life purpose, just reintroducing you to and through the essence, the magical being that really resides within each and every one of us. My name is Tonya D, and welcome to my virtual medicine room. Ashe. If you haven't already, please be kind and do subscribe to my YouTube channel, Tonya D. I appreciate that. Galactic blessings out there to you as well. And if you do so, hit the bell so you're notified. And also, if you don't mind, go ahead and like my videos so the YouTube algorithm will echo out my message to other like-minded musers like yourself out in the galactic universe. But today the moon is in the season of Libra. Our emotional channel seeks to actually be in authentic balance, just receiving and opening to the gifts the universe really has for each and every one of us. It might not be the treasure that you were thinking. However, the universe knows us better than we oftentimes know ourselves. And this Sunday, I'm going to be doing a live show for my community in a private group. So if you're part of that, any of my online offerings, be sure to join me. But the message from the ethereal realm, that's kind of what I went into today. And don't mind if my house starts rattling. I'm not having an earthquake. I have a situation where I'm getting a fern gully in the backyard. So don't mind the rattle. It's something that I just can't control. But since we're in between dimensions, feeling one way, maybe feeling another, reacting in kind, so our day doesn't really have a kink in it, if you will. Energetic hiccups and all, trivial pursuits, those burps. But the first message is from the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords is this brave hero who rushes in headlong into conflicts to defend his beliefs. He's blunt and he comes directly to the point. He disassembles, is not really something that he's capable of. It kind of seems, or it's seen as being refreshing, honesty, and also true loyalty. It's like spiritual truce, or a lack of tact and discretion. So he doesn't let emotion come between him and his purpose. Emotion in his matters is extraneous. It's muddying what is obvious, the seen and the unseen, just allowing room for doubt or fear. He's kind of this emotionless knight. He's fearless. He's invincible in a way, and he does not acknowledge the possibility of defeat. He does not back down once he's engaged, for he knows no other option but victory. So this knight is a domineering personality, and he rides upon the king of the birds and all the energies all together. They're like a spear through the heavens, if you will. He's a seeker, and he's slicing through the skies with this sword on his wings of, it looks like a phoenix, right? So we have these storm gathers in his wake, and he's born on the wings of turbulence, and he's creating this winged army, if you will. And he's lifted high above the sky, above it all, to pierce through the chaos. So the sword is really a beacon to his followers, if you will. He calls out to the night's abyss, the realms. He's like, lift me up, spirits of the sky. Grant me the keen sight of a hawk, swiftness of a sparrow, and grant me the insight of a raven. The wisdom there as well, right? The brave heartbeat of a hummingbird, and bear with me with grace the wings of a swan, and guide me with visions of the wisdom of the owl. So it's these elemental beings of nature. And the sword is a protector of the mental muddle, the airwaves, if you will, of the chaos. So he's like protecting us from this adversity of muddling up our mind. And the sword is the beacon, my guardian. So that's interesting. That showed up today. I just thought of that. And then we have the temperance. And temperance, she's gathering herself, reaching within for this calm center, the place of balance. This is feeling Libra-ish. And from her center, she feels the dragon and the phoenix doing this, right? And they're twined about one another. I'm not sure you can see the dragon or the phoenix in there, but they're embracing. They're in this twisting of their scales and the feathers, until it seems that one kind of melts into the other one, and they're coiling around each other in like this timeless battle of supremacy, if you will. And they're choreographed in this elegant waltz of give and take and push and pull. And they're swirling about her in this maelstrom that assaults the senses, if you will. Kind of like a maestro who watches over, and she's reining in one or the other, and she's sensing any imbalance within the game and the play, so that harmony is maintained. So it's like the earth and the sky, the fire and the water, the male, the female. So the summers, the warmth of the summers, the lush growth of the summer, and the winters, the chill winds kind of bearing down. So these opposites are in flow, one into the other. They're cyclical, and they're in this endless push of the yin and the yang. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a globe of the yin and the yang there. But they're perfectly balanced against one another as well. In fact, they were given purpose and definition by the existence of this diametric kind of opposing forces. So it's like without water, fire rages otherly, unchecked, out of control, all-consuming, burning itself out, eventually in a terrible configuration, if you've ever seen a fire rage out of control, or the damage and the destruction that it's done. It's like the trees are naked. Literally, it's pretty... It's kind of this weird feeling, actually. I've experienced the rage of a fire after effects. But without water or without fire, waters are lightless. They're drowning. They're flooding until there's only this still, silent mirroring of nothing. By defining each other's limits, they both become imbued with life and become life-giving essences, elementals, right? So they're tempered in a way to coexist in just the right frequency, the right balance. For too much of one and the other is going to be smothered. And harmony and equilibrium, it's the balancing of opposites. It's healing. So there's this moderation of extremes. It's self-resistance. It's harnessing these absolute forces or absolute light, just reining them in to be welded to a purpose, to a form. And just holding the opposites apart from one another really denies the power of unity, being drawn in like a drawing string. Together they merge in this fashion that is measured, or they have this understanding what one bestows upon the other. So they're in an equilibrium. So they have this beautiful synthesis that they're creating. And sometimes all that holds the two apart is a wall of belief, like what they believe. So being flexible and understanding that there is more than one way to perceive the galactic corridor, the world, can really go a long way towards breaking down those invisible walls, those boundaries. So from temperance, we then go to the Three of Pentacles. There we go. Sorry, I'm having an itch. But the Three of Pentacles, which also is juicy, they're really working together as one, creating this human ladder and climbing up on each other's shoulders. And when they're combined in their height, they reach upwards and they are yearning towards the sky, the universe. So into the stone wall, they're inscribed these pentacles. She's got her circles, and they form a team of these overlapping arcs, these little circles, if you will. And they're interlinked, almost like chain links or a necklace in their relationship. These circled sets of this combination and these inclusions. So it's this mathematical equation of our human relationships and also our interactions. So each arc is kind of inscribed with care. If you've ever done or created a talisman, it's as if they're following this blueprint. So her fingers are kind of the trail through the stone, as if the surface is this clay, which is malleable. Like you can work and create and reform and reshape. But the solid stone is giving way underneath the soft flesh of her fingertips. So this is the power of their combined wills, that what is impossible suddenly becomes easy, it's mundane, and it's achievable. And they're really comprehending the power of unity, like when one works in conjunction with the other. So the Three of Pentacles is the embodiment of teamwork and functioning together as a unit, a whole unit. I call it the round table. So it kind of is underscoring the competence and achieving beyond the expected. Sometimes the support of others is really required to achieve our goals, that not everything can be accomplished solo, and not everything needs to be accomplished alone as well. Reaching out to others there's no failing in that. But working with others also requires patience, planning, and kind of this compromising standards to our cooperation sometimes. So it's like kneading the dough, right? You've got all the ingredients, now you're kneading the dough to create the ball, the round table, if you will. No one makes it alone. I don't care who you are and what you're doing. I have a village. So then we finish with Judgment. Yeah, that is Judgment. So Judgment. So it's like upon the arrival of Judgment Day, we have the angel that sounds the horn, sending out the blast of truth. So it's like letting all the souls rise to the call and lay their deeds out to be seen and judged by all, allowing spirit to be the cleanser with the burning light and the fire to be made pure. There comes a time for each and every one of us when an accounting is being held. Accounting must be held in a way. So it's time to kind of evaluate the phase of life that just passed, and to recognize and to appraise with an unbiased mind, if you will, honesty to ourselves and the other. So every action has its own result, for good or for ill, to be rewarded or to bear the need for absolution and also forgiveness, cleansing and atonement in a way, I guess. And beyond that, really, there's this transition onto the next phase, a rebirth and a clean slate to begin anew, fresh. It's like, I don't know if you can see them, but they're the red poppies. Those are a symbol of sleep and death, sometimes as an offering for the dead. And yeah, can you hear the vibration? Welcome to my village corruption. It's great. But I'm sending that all out to the universe. Let the universe handle that stuff, right? However, let's go back to the card now that the rattle is quit. So sometimes, again, it's an offering for the dead, like blood. Their color stains the fields. It's brilliant. It's beautiful. And from that life-filled expansiveness, there's this delicacy, if you will. There's this swaying crimson of gold, which reminds me of the soul's harmonic, like these energetic centers. I had an amazing download last night, so I'm super stoked about that. But there's also butterflies, if you could see them. They're taking wing and they're going upward, their spirits, in this metamorphosis of the soul. So they widen the freedom and their endless blue of the great beyond, the sky that's awaiting them. So it's really a time for release and renewal and absolution, this freshness of a new dawn, a new start. So it's like making a judgment, though it might be harsh and difficult to face sometimes. It's a necessity of those hard choices. So we have to kind of face down or knead through the dough on those decisions and recognize the need and also forgive. And we have this reawakening, the mystery of a birth and also the death. It's like the voice of destiny summons us onward, and hearing that undeniable call, being drawn to really act upon it and just knowing what must ultimately be done. So it's like, are we awakened yet? The universe is totally hearing the call, the echo, possibly, right? So those were super juicy, all those cards. And thanks for tuning into the vibration. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's insane over here. You get no help from the government either, I'll tell you. Called them a few times. But look at this. The elemental highway, you cannot make this shift up. Will you just take a breath and a pause and seriously look at that? It's the heavens and the earth are all the same in the same alignment. A young tiger day to the threes, or sometimes it feels like to the nines. And being that our day is born in the season of spring, we've got spring elementals all laid out. The tiger is strong in the month and the day and the year, and that makes the element of metal very weak, which means all that water is also weak. It's all perception, right? It's not as it appears. You're probably thinking, oh, that young water is probably feeding those tigers because it's nature. No, because it's big water. It's galactic water. So the tiger needs yin water. So it's like the balance of the yin and the yang, which was just in the cards there. So it has no support, really, nothing to anchor it in. And metal or mineral kind of supports the water because the yang metal is actually the most needed, really, energetically of the day to control the wood and also produce the yin water. So water isn't supported or grounded into the earth. So the heavens and the skies are like floating around in all that space. So it's like a bubble, a water bubble, if you will, a sphere, storm clouds with no release. And yang fire is also needed to warm up the water, the stems, because they're chilled the winter, right? And the yang earth, or actually both earths, really useful because they're going to keep the water in the flow, yin and yang earth. Fire is kind of iffy in some way because it combines with the element of nature, the tiger, so it can weaken the yang water even further. And yin earth is also needed, but it's going to contaminate the yang water. So the yin fire also will kind of weaken the yang metal. So it's like, what a freaking day. Seriously, tigers can pounce, might be some pouncing going on today. Energies, right? So earth is also diminished by all those excessive tigers there because nature, earth, needs earth to root. So more earth is needed to counteract and balance our day. So being that the tigers are in their season, they're strong as well, but because the fire is weak or hidden, it's also unable to kind of break through and spend that energy excessively, so it's not productive enough. It's like holding the reins. And fire is really an element that's needed to make the tigers busy and bring balance to our day. They need something to do. So all this tiger energy, the essence of the tigers, is depleting and it's draining to the water element. It's weak due to no support. The water is. It has no support. It's like we have to create a bridge, basically, between all these elementals. So metal is also of use to support water and control those tigers, being that our tigers have hidden fire. It's warm and fiery, hidden in the day, and the fires are kind of simmering below, if you will. So they might rage out of control, and the energy of water and metal are reduced in power and probably dysfunctional, not working at a functional rate. So stimulating the water and the metal might also be called for. However, our tigers are really unstable as well. I'm serious, pouncing. There's no roots, they have no grasp because the earth frequency is exhausted. So we also need metal to stimulate and also bring balance to our day. So decisions made from spiritual truths. That's kind of the metal energy, the mineral. So it's like, what's the benefit and at what cost? You know, there's always a cost. The energy of the expenditure, the cost of the frequency. You know, is anyone listening kind of a thing? That's the story we have. It's this integrity, metal, decision makers, managers, managers, decision makers, kind of the rough and the gruff, a scratchy voice, metal, because we're entering into the season of Pisces, water, right? Sandalphon is online for the next 30 days. The songs that float in, the messages from Sandalphon, prayers, the brother to Metatron. So join me for tomorrow's snippet to see what Sandalphon has in store for us for the season. Super juicy there. Just otherworldly voices through the songs of spirit. So if you find yourself singing a song, that's Sandalphon coming in. So we have this awarenesses. They're in fluctuation. They're flowing between the realms of spirit and the realms of matter, the physical and the spirit, or energy to matter, matter to energy, both ways. So how do we access the physical and also the spiritual simultaneously? So it's in the space of silence that spirit speaks to us, just being able to discern between these two frequencies. So we have the physical and also we have the intuitive gifts. And once we discern, then we can then connect and utilize spirit to be our guide, our essence, and communicate through our clairaudience channel, our third eye or our crown, even seeing through what I would call the eye of God, our soul's harmonic. That might be a floating kind of day, a frequency of today, and just creating sacred spiritual space. So you're probably wondering, how am I holding the field? It's because energetically I'm centered and I know the chaos, I can push it out. It's the unseen boundaries that you can push out outside of you. So creating sacred space, created spiritual sacred space, it's this inward journey to spirit. So if you're in need of assistance for that, so Listening Solitude is an amazing offer I have in the venue, my musing club, if you will, to assist you into learning stages and phases of meditation if you're new. It's always being updated. There's always new meditations in there. It's my landing page for all meditations. So check that out if you feel called. But most of our energetic hiccups are things that are in the pre-realm, if you will, the realm of spirit, the house of all the goods and the bads. And as we're in the season of Pisces, that's going to be illuminated. So the light is shining on the shadows that may be hiding under the rug or coming out of the closet. So we get to cleanse our spiritual corridor for the season, our inner self, our connection to spirit, and tuning into the galactic grid line, the universe. So it's like the sounds of Sandalphon call in this angelic being to really shed light and bring spiritual healing to the abyss. And being that we are in a birthing of the season, you just might be hyper aware of your sacred space. Lucid dreaming, mine were on fire last night. And if you lack privacy for your sacred space, like literally pray, meditate, call in the Great Spirit. I'm doing it probably every hour on the hour lately. But you might notice where you are lacking, things that aren't in alignment with your personal sacred space are kind of be accenting today. Like you're going to notice them. You're going to be hyper aware. It's like the values, the spiritual values. Be a spiritual observer, not yet a warrior, if you will, a warrior of spirit. Because the universe is holding our grace channel. So really take the time and take the space to connect with spirit to and through our inner genius and just be in spiritual love with yourself. So love the spirit, the essence that truly resides within you. It's a stage of karmic cleansing, if you will, clearing out our subconscious states of memory down to our bones, usually childhood memoirs, if you will, past lives, timelines, or lifelines, any other. Mine literally were in a dream state, which they usually are, otherworldly dreams. The universe is calling. It's time to listen and just know it's going to be otherworldly. It's not going to be something you've seen before. And the universe doesn't work in logical, linear ways. There's these energetic hiccups that are a necessity, if you will, or necessary to transform into the realms of spirit and just holding the line of faith. And trust in the essence of your higher self, your Sira, the guardian of your galaxy. You know, the empire is with us, the God Codex, the Great Spirit, Source, the divine, whatever you want to call it, whatever resonates, right? But make it spiritual, a spiritual acumen kind of a day. You could even connect with somebody who's crossed into what I call Transcendence Day, an ancestor or anyone really who's on the other side, and comment if you have any voices of the other world come into light for yourself last night, because our spiritual connection is still highlighted. But I also sense the soul's harmonic is online. So it's like the eye of God, seeing things as if you are looking through God's eyes, God universe, and just see yourself as the universe, God universe sees you, and really allow that light to shine on. Because our heart channel is opening up to our spiritual acumen, the elementals, the imaginal realm, all the juice, the realms of spirit on all the pathways, the highways, the streams, and so much more. So really make your light shine. And I would literally affirm that I am in my sacred heart chamber, connected to source through spirit, and breathe in and breathe out spirit all day today. And notice how your breath is. Sense where it is flowing or isn't flowing, and release that combustion, the fires inside. And also you could chant the energy or the sound of metal or the crown or anywhere, you know, if you feel the call, wherever your spiritual blockage might be, you're going to notice in your breath work. The sounds are in the show notes. So you could, if you're feeling some tension in your sacral, we have different tonalities, right? We could tone in through the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, our heart chamber, just the sounds, whatever sound, and even metal. I would probably go with metal. Or fire still, but I'm feeling metal more. Metal. Nah, go with fire. Fire is always a great essence. Fire and water gives water something to do, right? But with all of that, InShalla, Ashe, I hope I streamed well today. I've been having energetic hiccups with the streaming line. But as always, I'll see you on the other side. And thanks for listening to the house rattle. I appreciate that as well. You cannot make the shift up. But InShalla, blessings and gratitude.